Hi, this is Steve. I'm in the middle of a Morimoto H1 Universal HID upgrade on my BMW E36 M3. Very excited about it. Tyler at the Retrofit Source was just great to talk to and quite helpful. And I thought in addition to the M3, I would also do the Porsche Boxster. It's a 986 first gen. Upon receiving that kit, I could tell that it was not going to be possible to do the Porsche unless you're able to get the entire lens off. I've heard horror stories about baking these in the oven to get the top lens off because of the noxious gas and or smell, which is enough to have your wife or girlfriend kill you while you sleep. So the other option that Tyler suggested was the Morimoto 2-stroke 2.0 LED, which puts out 2 to 2.5 times more light than this. If you own a 986 Boxster, you can identify with the brown spots on the top half of the lens inside because it's starting to melt. These contraptions got extremely hot. They did that to the internal lens, plus they melted the actual insulation off of the wires inside the headlight buckets. So I discovered that early on, about 6 years ago, and replaced all of my wires. I'll show you that in a minute. And then I also drilled holes all over that sucker to let the heat out. Seems to be fine. I've not burned out light bulbs or had an issue in that entire amount of time after drilling all those holes. So I've changed the way the light works. The top half is normally low beam, the bottom half is high beam, and with the melted spots, I'm not sure if you can see that really well. Hopefully I'm getting this into the camera okay. I then reversed the wiring. It's just they use the same bulbs, H7, and you just take one plug off the top, put it on the bottom, and vice versa. So then the bottom half becomes your low beam, the top half is your high beam. Like all German cars, or most German cars, when you use your high beam, I call it a driving light. Some people call it a fog light. Technically, I've been told that a fog is amber, driving is white. These driving lights right here are absolutely awesome and provide a lot of light. So to drive with the driving light and the low beam on, especially if it's the Morimoto LED, I figure I'm going to have a ton of light. Screw the high beam. So here's what we've got. I'll show you some of the vent holes. Anywhere those yellow circles are is where I've drilled a hole through the outside case. Now be careful because you don't want to go through the inside portion into the lens area as well. And as you can see, more of the big holes here. And as I said, I replaced the wiring here and also internally. I was able to cut it off flush at the connectors and solder new wire onto the connectors. I also did a variety of smaller holes down the side also, and that's really helped. This was something else I was working on to power a garage door opener, so just disregard that. So if you know what this guy looks like, you know this cover comes off the back. As you can see, I've got all brand new wiring inside. Okay, here's the way it rides in the car. This used to be low beam, that used to be high beam. I just switched them, and it looks to me that this Morimoto with the LED is going to be absolutely fabulous. This, Tyler sold me some kind of European adapter for that socket, but you don't need them. And this is just like all the other H7s. It's got the tab on it. And you'll see, hopefully you'll see that, let me see if I can get this oriented. That fits inside just like the stock bulb should. Okay, but there's one problem. This clip is now supposed to go down and over, and there's no way that you're going to get all of this in the bigness of that gold barrel. Try to get my finger out of the way. that gold barrel through the middle of that. So I just wanted to show you that what I'm going to do is take this clip, which you should be able to get out with a little bit of persuasion. I know my fat fingers are probably in the way, but you just play with it a little bit. I'm going to cut this clip right here. I'll have one for each side. You've still got this big loop to exert downward pressure, so it's going to go here, downward pressure, and then hook underneath the normal spot. That should be enough to hold the bulb in. What I then plan to do is take the cover, and I'm going to slice this a little bit such that I can slide this wire through the slice, still put the cover on, and then use, I typically don't like silicone. I like gasket sealer or gasket maker. I'm going to say Permatex. It's black and it can be like 1 minute or 10-minute gasket maker. It's got some glue in it and it holds on pretty well and of course seals out the moisture. So when it's all said and done, this will be back on and all of this, I don't want to get my hand on the bulb, will be hanging out. So then you're going to take this part and you're going to connect it to the transformer part, which is this end here. And if you check the car, when this is in place, you'll know where your couple of access holes. One is to unlock the headlight bucket and get it out, and the other one is the adjustment for up and down and right and left. Well, just a little bit past that, my car had a rubber grommet on it and nothing was in it originally. I took it out and cut a hole in it so that I could run my Escort laser jammers. I'm going to use that same grommet to get this outside of the trunk to an area where what's hanging out of here will connect. Shouldn't be any kind of water issue. Use some dielectric grease, which isn't really grease, it's an electric conducting compound on here. These things will seal out the water and you should be in great shape. Then this can be in the trunk and the front trunk, and then you can power up to that. Now, as you can see, since I modified all my wiring, I wasn't overly concerned about the factory setup, which used to look like this, which was nothing more than female spades stuck into these plastic holders. I cut my holders open and have brand new female spades on my brand new wires. So you're going to need to get power from here out into the trunk to connect to this guy. So you're going to need some 16 gauge wire. I'll probably run 14 just because it's a little bit better. I will connect to this item in the trunk with female connectors. I'll figure that out. If I can't figure that out, I will use an adapter that Tyler sent me, which is this guy here. That could plug in like that, and that gives you these exposed males, and then my females will go right on that. I'll put a little heat shrink on it and will be protected and ready to go inside the trunk. So this and this will all be in the trunk. This will go through the trunk wall enough to connect. I'm always putting my hand in the way, I'm sorry, to this guy. This will go through the plastic door right there into here and should be all set. I'm looking forward to that project just as soon as I finish the HIDs on the M3. That's pretty much it. If I come across anything else that's mission critical, I will certainly add to this YouTube video. Thanks and good luck with your 986. I expect it to be an absolutely tremendous improvement over light output. as I was saying, I thought I would take the spring clip and cut right here, which would give me 2 halves, and hold the light in accordingly, but that unfortunately did not work. These ends are dog-eared there with the bend on them, and you can see where I cut right there. This side is holding on okay under the hook, but this side is supposed to come all the way over here under this hook, and it doesn't want to do that. It wants to fall out. So my next thought is find a new clip or make my own, and instead of that bend right there, just make these longer. And then I was hoping to basically take the Morimoto lens, slip this in behind it like this, put everything in, and then since these don't have the bend on them and they're just straight, I could squeeze them with my $3.99 Harbor Freight extra long pliers, which are invaluable. I could squeeze them until they popped back into this portion here, and since it's already laying between the big power body, I don't know what it's called, but that big gold thing, the circle, and the light bulb itself, you could then have those guys connected there, and then reaching in here with your pliers, put these in the appropriate locking stations. So we'll see how that goes. I'll look for a new clip. If not, I'll use this as a sample to bend my own out of some stainless wire. I'll keep you posted. Thanks.